On my wife's birthday, I wore a clown costume, knelt on one knee with a bouquet of flowers held high under the TV tower, and waited for her for 5 hours without moving, just to give her the sense of ceremony she wanted. It wasn't until my legs were sore and numb that I almost lost consciousness that I received her call. "Honey, I have an urgent business trip for 3 days, so don't wait for me." Looking at her first love circle of friends, I was silent for a long time. In the photo, the two were hugging and kissing on the balcony of the hotel. She hooked her arms around his neck, acting both proactively and shyly. We will always be the youth in each other's memories and the people we love most. The TV tower in the background is shining brightly, and the red clown next to the TV tower is vaguely visible. I laughed at myself. I am indeed a clown. Sophia and I had been married for 5 years, and I thought she had let go of her first love long ago. I decided to wait for her to come back and give her a chance to explain. She didn't come back for 3 days or even a week after her birthday. According to David's updates, they went on island vacations, swimming, shopping, and even exercised together. Their bodies fit tightly together without a single gap. David wrote in his post, "Looking for the love of youth." I thought to myself with self-mockery that my wife was going out with her first love to find the love of youth, which made me seem like a superfluous person. On Sunday night, Sophia returned with a big smile on her face. As soon as I entered the door, she gave me a big hug and said, "Honey, I'm home." My body stiffened. I could smell a strong scent of men's perfume on her, and I never wear perfume. "Why don't you clean up? The house is a mess." Sophia frowned and looked around the room. "I've had a headache these past 2 days." I perfunctorily pushed her away. She looked at me nervously and reached out to touch my forehead. "What's the matter?" "I'm not at home." "Are you taking care of yourself like this?" If I hadn't seen David's circle of friends, I would have thought that our marriage was perfect. "Fine." I shook my head and distanced myself from her. Sophia's smile froze for a moment, then she handed me a bag and said flatteringly, "This is a gift I bought especially for you. I'm sorry for putting you through such hardship on your birthday. If I hadn't had something urgent to do at my company, I wouldn't have left you behind." I opened it and there was a tie inside. I have seen this tie before. There's the post where Sophia puts cufflinks on David. There's one in the corner of the photo, with a big gift printed on the box. I held the tie and my hands suddenly clenched tightly. At night, Sophia hugged me from behind. "Hubby, have you missed me these past 2 days?" In the past, whenever I heard her acting coquettishly, I would hug her tightly and kiss her. But today, I just feel sick. I stood up, holding the quilt, and prepared to go to the guest room. "Michael, what do you mean?" I perfunctorily replied, "I have a cold and I'm afraid I might infect you." Sophia lay on the bed unhappily, looking at me with suspicion. "Okay, go ahead." I lay in the guest room, but couldn't sleep. In the middle of the night, I suddenly heard a noise outside the door. It was Sophia who came out. I couldn't control my steps and followed him secretly. David was already waiting downstairs, and Sophia ran straight towards him like a little girl. They kissed, so sweetly. I hid behind a tree and watched them hugging each other and squeeze into the car. The car body shook and my heart trembled. Early in the morning, Sophia sneaked in like a thief. She was startled to see me sitting on the sofa. "Michael, you're going to scare me to death." Then she saw the open suitcase, and the items inside were neatly placed on the coffee table. She panicked and asked me angrily, "Who told you to open my suitcase? Can you please respect my privacy?" I said, "I was the one who packed all your suitcases before." On the table was a half-used box of condoms and a pair of torn black stockings. Just from the degree of damage, one could tell how intense the fight was. Noticing that my eyes were not right, she said sarcastically, "I didn't ask you to tidy up. Don't touch my things again in the future." "Michael, you are really unreasonable." Sophia packed up all her things in a hurry and returned to the bedroom with a guilty conscience. I didn't say anything, just changed my clothes, suppressed the pain and went to the company. In the morning, I received a call from the hospital saying that Sophia had been in a car accident. After I rushed over, I found out that David was also in a car accident. The two people were driving while driving, performing a game of speed and passion on the highway without paying attention to the road conditions, which led to the rear-end collision. When the nurses learned that I was Sophia's husband, they looked at me with sympathy. I took a deep breath and felt so speechless that my scalp went numb. A week of intimacy is not enough, they have to have an affair the night they get home. After being discovered, not only did he not restrain himself, but he went even further. I suddenly felt that the green grassland above my head was so green that it was shocking. Sophia was still unconscious, but David next to her was awake. "Are you Sophia's useless husband?" I stood there and just sarcastically said, You are a rich second generation, and you like to interfere in other people's marriages? David raised his eyebrows and sneered. What do you mean by interfering in your marriage? It's obvious that Sophia was willing to do it. Yes, she is only so happy when facing David, and even her smile is so bright. From the time we got married until now, she must have been making do with it. After all, David is wealthy and he is Sophia's first love, and they were once so deeply in love. I smiled bitterly and turned to leave, but Sophia woke up at this moment. When she saw me, she was stunned for a moment, then quickly got out of bed and looked at David beside her. Are you okay? David smiled proudly at me, touched Sophia's face deliberately, and comforted her. Don't worry, I'm fine. Sophia breathed a sigh of relief. I looked at them and only said, I wish you happiness. When I got home, I bought a lot of wine and drank it one sip after another. 5 years of marriage seemed like a joke. After waking up with a splitting headache, Sophia cleaned up the house for the first time. I looked at my changed clothes and felt uncomfortable all over, even a little dirty. When I came out of the shower, she was already waiting in the living room. You're awake, why did you drink so much? I ordered some porridge for you, drink it quickly. I stood there without moving, just looking at her quietly. Is there anything you want to explain to me? Sophia's hand holding the cup trembled for a moment, and she raised her head and said, David is only here on business, we just met by chance. I smiled sarcastically, mocking, that's it? After I exposed her, she yelled at me crazily, what do you want? I didn't tell you about the divorce. David and I have been childhood sweethearts. Can't we reminisce about our youth together? You are a little too petty. You shouldn't have settled for it in the first place. I caught her point, with me, just making do. We met on a blind date. She had always ignored me, but she agreed to my pursuit and accepted all my gifts and tenderness. I thought she was just cold, shy and reserved, but I didn't expect the truth to be like this. Sophia, so you've always thought this way. She just crossed her arms, stood up and said proudly, don't forget how you pursued me in the first place. If you weren't sincere, I wouldn't have been with you for so many years. I've given you a lot of face today, don't be shameless. Just think of it as David's business. You didn't see it. We can still live our lives. She said this arrogantly, then slammed the door and left. I started packing my luggage and my hand passed over her treasured box deep in the closet. I hesitated and took it out. She said before that this box contained her best memories and she would wait until we were old to open it and reminisce. Before that, she hoped I would not touch it. The box had a digital lock, so I desperately entered my birthday, our dating anniversary, and our wedding anniversary, but as I expected, none of them opened. Until I finally gave up and pressed David's birthday. With a click, the box opened and I laughed until tears came out. There was a notebook and a thick stack of photos in the box. I opened the diary, which was filled with records of their meeting, acquaintance, and love. On the last page, it said, I'm finally going to see you again. The things she treasured so much were all memories she had with David. There is no me in a single word. There was a thick stack of photos, all showing signs of being frequently touched. Suddenly, I heard her complain to her mother-in-law, if you didn't think Michael was a good man, why would I marry him? How can an ordinary man like that be worthy of me? He is just a bootlicker. I have been controlling him for so many years. I had been brainwashing myself that Sophia didn't mean to say that. If she didn't love me, how could we have been married for 5 years? But now, I just feel weak all over, my chest hurts, and my head is dizzy. My throat felt like it was blocked by something, and my chest hurt so much. My mother-in-law called me and asked me to go home for dinner tonight. I wanted to refuse, but when I thought about how my mother-in-law had always been nice to me, I agreed out of consideration for her. But I never expected that as soon as I entered the door, I saw my father-in-law playing chess with David. My father-in-law always has a loving face, but he is always polite and distant to me. Sophia leaned on David and fed grapes into his mouth with a smile on her face. When David took the grapes, he did not forget to kiss Sophia's fingertips, which made Sophia push him away with a slight frown. His father-in-law saw through it and laughed at him without saying anything. They were as sweet as a newlywed couple, and I felt like an outsider. Why are you here? Sophia frowned and couldn't even pretend to be nice to me. My mother-in-law asked me to come. I suppressed the emotions that were about to explode. Sophia was very dissatisfied and questioned her mother-in-law, what's wrong with you? We clearly agreed that today is a family gathering, why did you let him come? The mother-in-law walked into the kitchen awkwardly, how did I know you would bring David back? It turns out that the whole family treated me as a makeshift person. David is the husband and son-in-law they cherish most. It's okay. Since you're here, I don't mind having one more person. David said generously, but his eyes were full of sarcasm. Since you are having a family gathering, I won't disturb you. Having said that, I'm about to leave. Sophia came after me and looked at me with a troubled look in her eyes. David will be going back in a few days. I just want to spend some time with him. Okay, then drive carefully and don't rear-end each other again. Hearing the sarcasm in my words, she couldn't hold it in any longer and simply raised her hand and slapped me. Michael, I gave you face, didn't I? My chest heaved violently and my hands clenched into fists. Although she would do some minor fights before, and even beat me in public to show off her status, she wouldn't give me any mercy or respect, and ordered me around like she was shouting at a servant. Before, I just smiled because I loved her and told myself to let it go. But this time, my eardrums were still buzzing and a bloody smell was spreading in my mouth. I gave you face. Sophia was startled by my look. She stretched out her hand and tried to touch my face in panic, but David hugged her from behind. He smiled and said, "Okay, baby, does your hand hurt? Let me blow it for you." The father-in-law also chimed in, "Michael, you should be more generous and stop acting like a woman." Their eyes were so sarcastic, looking at me as if I were a clown. I walked out of the community, and there was a loud thunder in the gloomy sky, and heavy rain poured down, soaking me from head to toe. My heart is like a raindrop falling on the ground and shattered into pieces. This time, I finally made up my mind. I don't want to be played around by others anymore. Sophia has always belittled and despised me. I always thought it was because I didn't do well enough. It turns out that it's just because I'm not David. For many years, my marriage has been just a one-man show. There was a heavy rain and I stayed in the hospital for 3 days, but Sophia never showed up. When I got home, Sophia was surprised. "You got off work so early today?" Suddenly I didn't know what to say. She didn't even notice that I hadn't been home for a few days. I just answered perfunctorily, not even bothering to talk, and went straight into the house to continue packing. "What's your attitude?" Sophia screamed, jumped up and chased me into the room. "Michael, what are you doing? Why are you packing your clothes? If you dare to go out, don't ever come back." Sophia thought she could control me, and even her tone sounded fearless. I picked up my luggage and prepared to leave, but she blocked my way. "You've made a scene. Do you want me to bow down to you in this way? I've already told you that David is only here on business. Do you think it's worth it for such a small thing?" I looked at the woman I had loved for 5 years, and suddenly felt so strange. "Sophia, don't you know what you and David did?" I questioned her, not wanting to avoid the truth this time. She frowned and snorted with disdain. "Just because of this, am I not good enough to you? I've been married to you for 5 years. What can you afford to buy me? Although your family is not bad, compared to David, it's really not good enough. This wasn't the way you acted when you asked me to marry you. You were as humble as a dog, you knelt down and asked me to marry you, and now you dare to treat me like this." I closed my eyes and clenched my hands into fists, listening to her derogatory words, and was about to say something. Sophia's phone rang, and I saw the note at a glance. "Spouse. You are lovers, then what am I? Uncomfortable? What's wrong with you? Wait for me. I'll cook for you, whatever you want to eat." Sophia glanced at me and put away her phone. "Michael, David is not feeling well, I have to go over." "That's enough. I don't have that much patience." Looking at her back as she left, I laughed out of anger. This is the real her. David can make all her pride fall. I returned to my house. Looking at the private message David sent me, "Sophia is too tired to cook for me, I will take care of her for you tonight." In the photo, Sophia is wearing cool clothes, with marks on her chest, and lying beside David's bed. I suppressed the pain in my heart and just replied with a smile. "It's a good match, scumbag and bitch." After sending this message, I blocked them immediately, and I felt a tingling pain all over my body. What's the point of missing youth? It's just two people rekindling their old love. I smiled bitterly and didn't want to be a spare tire anymore. The next day, Sophia stormed into my company angrily. "Michael, I was just too tired last night, so I lay on his bed. Not only don't you feel sorry for me, but you also misunderstand me? You've worked hard. My wife is taking care of another man, and she still wants me to comfort her and tell her not to be too tired? Ridiculous. We have been married for 5 years and I have never asked her to do any chores. She is willing to suffer and still wants me to be responsible?" Sophia looked at my cold attitude and felt a little confused. "Michael, David and I are just friends, don't take it personally. You've always been good-tempered, why are you like this now? I forgive you, and let this matter pass." She is still so confident. She is cautious in front of David, but can do whatever she wants with me. I smiled and shook my head, looking at her and said, "I don't need your forgiveness. Then you can kneel down and apologize to me. She had an expression that said, "You're smart. Michael, if you had done this earlier, I wouldn't be angry. After all, we still have to live our lives. Do you still want to divorce me? If you beg me nicely, this matter will be over." Sophia continued to chatter away, becoming more and more smug. I took out the divorce agreement I had prepared this morning and handed it directly to her. Sophia couldn't believe it. She just took a look and threw the divorce agreement at me. "You want to divorce me?" I looked at her face and sneered. "It's not that I want to divorce you, it's that we have to divorce." Sophia seemed to have heard a joke. "Why? Do you need me to explain everything about you and David? You miss your youth, do you need to miss the sex part as well?" I gritted my teeth, still feeling sour in my heart. After hearing what I said, Sophia wanted to argue, but when she met my cold gaze, she showed fear. "Michael, it's not what you think. We are just friends. I'm not blind," I shouted angrily. Sophia looked at me, shook her head stiffly, and said, "I won't get a divorce." After she left, I contacted a lawyer directly to file a lawsuit. Sitting back at the desk tiredly, I picked up the photo album on the table and looked at our old photos. She was holding my hand and looked so happy. It turned out that it was my humble pleas again and again that made her reluctantly willing to stand by my side. I love her and can lower my bottom line for her, but what about her? I threw the photo in the trash. I went home early because of a splitting headache. I had just taken my medicine and fallen asleep when I heard the door open. I frowned and opened my eyes to see Sophia standing before me. "Yes, she knows my password here." "What are you doing here?" "I just came to see you," she said, as if what happened in the afternoon had never happened. My nerves were still tingling, and I managed to get up. "Now that you've seen it, please get out." "Michael, do you really want to divorce me?" "Yeah," I responded lightly. Sophia bit her lip and tried to come forward and hold my hand, saying in a flattering tone, "Michael, I know I was wrong, you should be able to understand. After all, everyone has their own dream in their heart, but it's impossible for David and me. We are husband and wife. We have been married for 5 years. Are you going to give up just like that?" I dodged her hand, feeling a little powerless. "Sophia, I'm not generous enough to share a woman with another man. You can cheat on me, but you don't have to love me. But I'm tired now and don't want to keep going any longer. It's you who is betraying our marriage." Hearing what I said, Sophia panicked, as if she was afraid of losing me. "No, that's not the case. I like you, David is just an obsession in my heart. He is going back to get married. We are just a fleeting romance. You can forgive me, can't you?" When I heard her words, I felt that my worldview was completely shattered. "I can't forgive you. Don't you love me the most? Didn't you say you would pamper me unconditionally? Why do you have to keep harping on such a small matter?" Sophia screamed, "Is it not possible to love two people?" I looked at her in disbelief. "You are really crazy." I pushed her out of the room and changed the password. I lay back in bed, but I no longer felt sleepy. "I remember when we first met that year," she said, "Michael, you are a good person, but we are not suitable for each other." I didn't give up. How could I, who had always been pursued by girls, be rejected? I held my breath, emptied my mind, confessed to her 99 times, and handed all my property to her. After marriage, he spoiled Sophia to the utmost and never let her do anything. However, after reading her diary, I found out that the reason she agreed to my proposal that day was because David officially announced his girlfriend that day. Ridiculous, extremely ridiculous. A week later, after knocking on the door to no avail, Sophia finally caught up with me in the parking lot downstairs. "How dare you file for divorce? Are you crazy?" I looked at her calmly and said, "It's fine to follow the normal process." Sophia shook her head, tears falling from her eyes. "Michael, we've been together for 5 years, how can you just break up like that? It's hard for me to bear the thought of David going back to get married. Why are you rubbing salt into my wounds at this time?" Listening to her words, I just chuckled. "Sophia, what do you think I am? A recycling station? David, go back and get married. I will give you freedom and you can go and snatch the bride." She would only turn around and look at me when she didn't get any attention from David. Did she ever really regret it? "No, I was wrong, Michael, I love you. You love David too. You have a really big heart that can accommodate 2 men at the same time. Didn't you say that? You said I love 2 people, and you're right." "Yes, I did." When she was crying for David, I comforted her that it was not her fault to have fallen in love with 2 men, but in the future, I would protect her. In this marriage, I was the only one who approached her so awkwardly. She stood there, as if watching a joke. Sophia bit her lip and looked at me with tears in her eyes. No, Michael, you are the only one I have now. I can't lose you again.
No, you don't even have me anymore.
When it was time to get off work, many colleagues looked towards us. I didn't want to get entangled with her anymore, so I pushed her away, got in the car and left. The wind blew in through the car window and my eyes were sore. In the following time, Sophia seemed to take root in my life.
She couldn't get into my house, so she appeared downstairs of my company. Don't come to my company again, lest you be misunderstood.
Sophia froze in place, but still smiled. I'll pick you up from get off work.
Unnecessary.
Before, I also wanted to fit in with Sophia's circle, but she said that I was not considerate enough.
Everything is so ordinary, how can I take it out?
My door was not closed properly, and Sophia quickly squeezed in. She held the lunchbox in both hands, showed me her burned arms, and tried to seek comfort pitifully.
Michael, I got burned cooking for you. But wasn't she quite skilled at making sweet and sour fish for David? Why did she get burned when she made fried tomato and eggs for me?
I sneered and mercilessly ordered him to leave. Get out.
Sophia sobbed and even felt aggrieved. Why was I, who always doted on her, so determined this time?
She called her parents and blocked me at the entrance of our community.
Michael, why did you divorce my daughter? Do you have someone else outside? Hasn't Sophia been humble enough during this period? Do you have to do things so drastically?
Faced with their questioning, I shook my head amusedly.
You're most satisfied David is gone, and now you remember me? You can't possibly not know what Sophia did.
My question left them speechless for a moment. After all, I have always been an honest man, and I have deep feelings for Sophia, so I respect and love them very much.
Now, there is no need.
Michael, even if Sophia did something wrong, you should forgive her instead of choosing divorce, said the mother-in-law convincingly.
If you keep bothering me, I'll call the police.
After saying that, I ignored their insults and drove away. If I hadn't seen how they treated David, I might have thought they were just being kept in the dark. But when I saw the truth of the matter, I just felt it was ironic.
The day before the trial, Sophia invited me to the restaurant where we first met.
She was sitting there in a white dress, looking the same as she was back then.
Michael, you're here. I sat opposite and looked at her.
When we first met, I made you wait for 2 hours, so I came 2 hours early today.
Yes, I waited for a long time that day and my patience was exhausted. As I was about to leave, I saw Sophia.
She was wearing a white dress and walked towards me, and just walked into my heart.
But now, I just asked, what is it that cannot be said in court tomorrow?
She put on a stiff smile and tried to reach out to me. I just want to reminisce about the past.
What, haven't you missed me enough yet? After missing my first love, you want to miss my ex-husband as well?
I just felt sick listening to her words.
I can imagine how Sophia and David reminisce about the past.
No, I didn't mean that.
Michael, could you calm down a little bit? If I wasn't calm, I wouldn't have come to see you at all.
I looked at the juice in front of me and just smiled sarcastically.
Forget it, let's eat first.
Sophia wanted to change the subject, but there was still some embarrassment and reluctance in her eyes. Her troubled eyes kept scanning my body.
Why don't you eat? Is it not to your liking?
I looked at her. I'm allergic to orange juice.
Sophia murmured, why didn't you ever tell me?
You know David likes sweet and sour food, and you know he's allergic to seafood, but how come you don't know my taste? I said self-deprecatingly, looking at Sophia.
When did you know that? Did you read my diary? How can you read my privacy? I have never had any privacy in front of you. It is you who keeps checking my phone and everything about me.
Your double standards are a bit too extreme. After I finished speaking, I stood up and was about to leave, but Sophia walked over to me and held my hand.
Michael, we can go back to the past. Can't I take the initiative this time? No.
I pulled her hand off and walked out the door without any hesitation.
The next day, the court hearing was held as scheduled and the divorce was successfully granted. I felt like I was reborn.
For a long time, Sophia disappeared from my life.
Until one morning, the hospital called me and said, your spouse has been taken to the hospital. Please come over immediately. I frowned in confusion and said that I was single.
Sophia's voice came from the other end. Michael, it's me.
I'm dying now, please come and see me, okay? After hesitating for a moment, I still went to the hospital.
Sophia's hair was messy, her body was wrapped in bandages, her legs were hung up, and she was crying helplessly.
Seeing me approaching, she burst into tears. Michael, you're finally here.
I didn't go closer, but stood at the door, thinking about what I had just heard. Sophia wanted to get back together with David, but his wife was a powerful woman. Knowing that Sophia and David were still having an affair, she caught them in bed and beat Sophia half to death. While being beaten, Sophia was still shouting, "True love is innocent. Husband, say something. Fuck true love, you are a mistress, and you still have the nerve to say such things." David's wife had a hot temper and couldn't tolerate any injustice, so she posted the video directly online. To this, I just want to say, you deserve it. Michael, can you hug me? Sophia reached out her hand, as usual, seeking my comfort. I refused decisively. We are already divorced. When Sophia heard the word divorce, her eyes turned red and she looked very aggrieved. She choked up and spoke with regret. Let's start over, okay? David is an irresponsible man. He is afraid of his current wife. He even watched that bitch beat me half to death without any reaction. I have really come to my senses. Now I know that you are the one who treats me well. I just want to be with you. Sophia trembled, but with a bit of hatred, she clenched her fists tightly. She knew she couldn't afford to offend David, so she had to come back to me. But I don't want to anymore. As soon as I finished speaking, Sophia struggled to get down, regardless of her broken leg. Michael, you can't be so cruel. After all, we are husband and wife. We still have some feelings for each other, right? Looking at the falling leaves outside the window, I sighed. There is no mercy anymore. When she cheated on me, when she hurt me again and again, when she insulted me, when she turned to her adulterer but to no avail and wanted me to take over. Completely gone. I took a deep breath and walked out of the ward. Sophia's heart-wrenching roar came from behind. Michael, we love each other. Love? Maybe there was a moment before, but it was just my unrequited love. I ran towards her one way, loving her for many years, but now it's all gone. Sophia's parents wanted to go to David to ask for an explanation, but were also beaten out. David was like a coward and didn't show up at all. After hearing this, I was silent for a moment and then got back to work. Sophia limped downstairs of my house. She looked at me pitifully, thinking that I would feel sorry for her when I saw her like this. Michael, my parents are still in the hospital. I really can't take care of them by myself. What does it have to do with me? Sophia cried, I'm sorry, please give me another chance. You loved me so much before, you definitely wouldn't sit idly by, right? I really regret it. You are the only one left in my world. You will definitely come back, right? I just looked at her quietly. I had said before, can you please look at me and stop going out to look for David all the time? But what did she say? The relationship between us is beyond your imagination. Since you married me, you should accept everything about me. At that time, I was still thinking that as long as she could come back, it would be fine. Until I saw them together again, holding hands. They declared their free love to the world. They cheated in the name of true love. I ignored her and went upstairs with the vegetables. Don't leave, let's have a good chat. There's nothing to talk about between us. If you keep bothering me, I'll call the police. I didn't look at her again, shook her off and passed her by. She lost her balance and fell to the ground. Michael, can't you forgive me just this once? I didn't look back, I just said, I have forgiven you many times. Sophia cried bitterly and said regretfully, David lied to me. You are the only one who truly loves me. This time, I really know I was wrong. Why can't you forgive me? Michael, you said you would love me forever. The sound faded away, the elevator door closed, and I couldn't hear it clearly. The next time I saw David was on the news. He was caught cheating in bed again, and the affair with Sophia was also exposed. They became the rats crossing the street that everyone wanted to beat, and netizens were even more denouncing them. What kind of parents can raise a daughter like this? Yes, they could accept David into their home at that time and they were as close to him as a family. But David was a man who had to have a business marriage, and he turned back to Sophia only on a whim. I took a deep breath. The woman I had loved for 5 years was just someone else's plaything. I could see it clearly, but why couldn't her family see it? I asked for leave from the company and went out for a trip. It's like I want to put all the past behind me and never struggle in the memories again. After seeing the beautiful mountains and rivers of our motherland, it seems that love affairs are not so important at this time. I have walked a lot of roads and listened to the old people talking about the past. Everything is over, and it's time to put an end to it. I just got off the plane and a phone call left me a little dazed. Michael, come quickly, Sophia is going to commit suicide. I was forced to rush to the rooftop of the hospital. Sophia, who was standing on the rooftop, had become extremely thin. I haven't seen her for just a few months, but she seems to have aged several years. The person who used to love beauty the most has now become like a lunatic. When she saw me coming, she looked at me in surprise and said,
you still care about me, right? I just don't want to see you like this.
Even if she treated me as a backup, or even insulted and scolded me, I couldn't bear to watch her die in front of me.
After all, it is a living being. Michael, you won't even lie to me? Sophia cried, stretching out her arms and wanting to jump.
The firefighter tried his best to dissuade me and kept winking at me.
Sophia, come back, life must go on. I had to say.
After hearing what I said, she said sadly, my parents couldn't stand the current life and passed away one after another.
What's the point of me living? Michael, don't you think it's ridiculous? We treated you badly before, but now you should be very happy. I frowned, I never thought of it that way.
No, Sophia, you are still young and should live well.
She choked up and looked sad. Really? My life is meaningless to anyone.
While Sophia was still lamenting about her life, she had already been rescued by firefighters. She slammed herself to the ground, crying about her past.
If I hadn't done anything wrong, I should be living a happy life with you now. I just shook my head and watched her being taken to the ward. Michael, are you so unwilling to see me? Even so, you are unwilling to say a word to me?
Why, you can't always forgive me.
I really know I was wrong.
The doctor said that Sophia couldn't accept the reality, so she lost hope in this world. I remained silent, and within just a few months, tremendous changes took place. When I walked out of the hospital, the early winter wind was already very cool, which made me feel much clearer. If I hadn't seen David's circle of friends, I would have thought that our marriage was perfect. When the following spring is the time when all things come back to life. The hospital told me that Sophia had passed away. She really lost hope in life and no longer had any relatives around her.
I hung up the phone and went back to our former wedding room.
This place is still the same as before, but there is no trace of her anymore. In the past, I would stand in the kitchen and prepare food carefully.
And she should be watching TV and playing games on the sofa.
The sweet memories only flashed by, followed by endless quarrels and accusations.
She never tires of insulting me. Opening the box, their sweet memories are still inside. Just added one more sentence on the last page. Michael, I'm sorry. I wish you could come back to me.
I burned this diary, hoping it would always be with her.
After many years, I came to that restaurant again.
I was sitting alone eating, watching a family of 3 walking by outside the window. It was so sweet. I have thought about such a scenario before, but now I am left with only a few sighs. I have let go of all my obsessions, but I still think of them occasionally when I walk on a familiar road. That year, she smiled at me and said, "You have to protect me for the rest of my life." I nodded, and the memories were blown away by the wind.